Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, once again, the issue of electronic transfer levy is before this House, and I rise to support the passage of the bill repealing the electronic transfer levy. So, Speaker, the report says that if we pass the electronic transfer levy repeal bill, there will be more disposable income in the hands of individuals and households. Why is it so? Individuals and households would have lost the money by way of the deductions imposed by the tax. If we repeal the tax and then the individuals are no longer going to be making those payments by way of the deductions, the money will remain in their hands. And that is the basis for the committee saying that there will be more disposable income in the hands of the individual. It means the money will now be available to them to spend. That is what disposable income is. And Mr. Speaker, if you look at the fiscal impact analysis, which our standing order says we should consider during this stage of the debate, the committee says the committee was informed that the repeal of the levy will result in an estimated loss of 1.946 billion Ghana cedis for the 2025 fiscal year. What it means, Mr. Speaker, is that 1.946 billion, that is close to 2 billion Ghana cedis, would have been paid by Ghanaians to the government by way of the deductions based on the tax. But if we pass this bill, the deduction will no longer take place and government will lose close to 2 billion Ghana cedis. But the 2 billion Ghana cedis that government is going to lose will now come to Ghanaians. So in effect, individual Ghanaians who ordinarily would have lost 2 billion Ghana cedis will now retain their 2 billion Ghana cedis. And government that would have gained 2 billion Ghana cedis by way of deductions from Momo transfers, government will lose the 2 billion Ghana cedis. So this single legislative measure is going to pass on 2 billion Ghana cedis to Ghanaians. 2 billion Ghana cedis. 2 billion Ghana cedis. So this is a gift of 2 billion Ghana cedis being given back to Ghanaian citizens. 2 billion that they would have paid to government will now be their 2 billion. So this legislation, if passed, gives Ghanaians 2 billion Ghana cedis as disposable income that they can spend. They can pay their children's school fees. They can, build their homes. They can, those of us who want to get married, we can get married with it. Mr. Speaker, 2 billion Ghana cedis is being given back to Ghanaians by the passage of this. And not just this year. If we had continued the legislation next year, another 2 billion Ghana cedis, which would have been paid by Ghanaians to government, will remain in their hands. And then the following year, another 2 billion Ghana cedis. So starting from this year, every year, Ghanaians are going to get 2 billion Ghana cedis, which would have gone to government, staying in their hands. Mr. Speaker, this is the policy consideration that is informing the decision to pass this legislation. And Mr. Speaker, I support the passage of this bill and urge colleagues to vote for the passage of the bill. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Reading the report, there are some few lines that I think that we should look at. 6.2 states that, and I quote, However, the imposition of the E-Levy was met with resistance from the public, as it adversely impacted on the disposable income of the citizenry. But the Speaker is being presented as though everybody opposed the E-Levy. And I think that we should look at the language that some members of the public opposed the E-Levy. Also, the rationale, the second rationale espoused in 6.3, but the Speaker says that the reason for repeal is to ensure that there is availability of additional disposable income to households and to reduce the tax burden on individuals. Mr. Speaker, if this is a reason why we are repealing the E-Levy, then E-Levy is 1%. Why don't we go and repeal VAT, which is about 17%, if we are looking at ensuring that there's disposable income for citizens? That cannot be a proper and true rationale for the repeal of the E-Levy. Rather, Mr. Speaker, the report goes to say that the E-Levy, the repeal of the E-Levy, is to remove the disincentive to electronic transaction, which is a wonderful idea. But if we go and say that it is to allow for the citizens to have disposable income, I think that this particular rationale, we should look at it again. But with these few comments, I do support the repeal of the bill. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.